Good morning, Valley of the Sun. Thank you for joining me, your host, Nathan Claiborne of the Phoenix Real Estate Roundup. On today's Roundup, I'm going to talk a little bit about stats for today. I'm going to take a deep dive into the Cromford Report, and then I'll give you the Baller House of the Week. First, there are 18,970 active listings on the Arizona Regional Multiple Listing Service. And then the average 30-year fixed rate interest rate today is 6.37%. Let's contrast that with last week. Last week's show, it was at 6.62%. So it's come down quite a bit, 20 basis points, basically 15 basis points, which is fantastic, right? That'll create a little bit more demand in the market, and we are definitely seeing that. But more importantly, what we're seeing, and I just read that inventory number, 18,970 active listings. How many were there last week? Let's look. 19,474 when I did my podcast last Tuesday. So that is, 500 fewer, a little over 2% fewer than there were last week. And then month over month, so on November 7th, there were 21,128 active listings on the multiple listing service. What's going on? Inventory is going down. What happens in a crash? Not that. When a crash happens in whatever market we're talking about, right? We're talking about a massive sell-off. We're talking about everybody wanting to get rid of that asset because it's no longer having any value for them. Well, we're not seeing that at all. Not in this, certainly not in the Phoenix market at all. We still have housing scarcity. We have scarcity in the for sale market right this minute. Interest rates have come off their highs. I just mentioned November 7th. Interest rates on November 7th were 7.29%. And we had all these active listings. Well, they came down, and all those listings got sold, and that's what's happening here. I'm going to talk about new listings, and part of the reason that the inventory is going down is because people are not listing their homes at the rate that they were a year ago. Now, nor should they. A year ago, we were setting records. So, like I said, I'm going to take a deep dive into the Cromford Report. Those of us who are in the business subscribe to the Cromford Report, which is a data collection and presentation company that basically breaks down all the MLS data, presents in all kinds of different ways for us to parse and study and look through and make sure that we know exactly what's going on in this marketplace. They do an incredible job, and they help me bring you this podcast every week. I use their data all the time. They're an incredibly valuable service, and I certainly thank them for that. So I'm going to take a look at last year in November. Uh-oh. I just navigated away from it on accident. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, last November, there were 8,346 new listings listed in the month of December of 2021. This past November, there were 5,714 new listings. So that's a huge drop. 8,300 versus 5,700. That's about 40% fewer. And you can think about it this way: when you're in this business, you're thinking that's 40% fewer paychecks went out this November than last November. That's not good. But actually, just the number of houses that went on the market are far, far fewer. And in fact, if we haven't seen this few houses in a November get listed in quite some time. Really, in the last 4 years, we haven't seen that. This is the lowest number we've seen in quite some time. So we are seeing fewer people list homes. People are still buying homes. And in fact, new homes are still selling pretty robustly. So there's nothing in this market that's, to me, indicating a crash of any kind. I just want to be really clear on that. And when we deep dive into the data like this, that's what we find. The more I keep digging, the less it looks like a crash. There is housing scarcity, not just in this market, but that is true, especially in the Phoenix market, but it's also true virtually nationwide with a handful of exceptions. So I just wanted to point all of that out. So all of us are very clear that nobody is getting rid of real estate. And part of the reason is because real estate is still one of the most efficient stores of value available in our marketplace. In this system that we're in this economy that we're in, real estate is a reliable source and store of value, and it continues to be so. So if you're thinking about buying a home, do it. The interest rates won't be at 6.5 forever. Now, I'm going to bring you the fun part of the podcast, the Baller House of the Week. Ready? Drum roll, please. This week, the most expensive house sold on the Arizona multiple listing service, 4713 North 95th Street in Scottsdale for $5.477 million. Congratulations to the buyer there. It is a 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath, 6,100 square foot, beautiful, modern looking home, very straight lines and flat roofs. Beautiful, beautiful home sold by Launch Real Estate and helping on the buyer side, Remax Fine Properties. Congratulations, guys. You are the Baller House of the Week. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Phoenix Real Estate Roundup. I am Nathan Claiborne. I am an associate broker with the Daniel Montez Real Estate Group here in the East Valley. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.